Zimbabwe. As I mentioned briefly yesterday, I hadn't been to Hwange since 1970. That is a very, very long time ago. And because I was going to be in that part of the world, it seemed sensible to take the opportunity to go and revisit Hwange. A lot has happened in Zimbabwe since I was last there. A great deal has happened in Zimbabwe. What has happened to what is one of the great game reserves of Africa, not just of Southern Africa, but of Africa. It is a very special legacy reserve. And we had this item in Eyewitness News earlier about how Vic Falls is benefiting from tourists who might otherwise have gone to Kenya but have been put off by the Westgate Mall siege. And it's quite obvious coming through from Botswana and heading from Kasane through Vic Falls and then down to Hwange. It's quite obvious that there is significantly greater tourist traffic in the area now. And everybody that you spoke to said, yes, Vic Falls has recovered, is recovering. Zimbabwean tourism in other parts, Matswadona, Gonarazu, Chisarira, those great parks, no. Very few tourists are going there at all. But the Vic Falls axis is starting to pump a little. And it's only a 2.5-hour drive on a very decent road, very decent tar road from Vic Falls down to the Hwange area. So it is a trip that you can very easily make and combine it with the Vic Falls experience. The only problem on the road is these roadblocks. These young, indolent, blank-eyed police officers who are ripping you off. And my driver says to me quite bluntly that these guys get 1 day a month to make some extra money. And they look for the smallest thing for which they can fine you, and they issue a fine you, and they've got a receipt book, and the receipt gets written out. But he says they've got their own receipt books. There's absolutely no way that money goes back into Zimbabwean treasury. It goes into the top pocket. But there were, 4 roadblocks, so not a huge issue. And Hwange itself is in pretty decent shape. I spent 2 days, 10 hours a day for each of 2 days in the park. The road infrastructure is not terrific. There was a tar road that linked Hwange up to Cinematella and then Robbins Camp, and that is tar only in distant memory in some places. And some of the dirt roads are quite corrugated, but they are roads on which you could take a 1500 Honda Jazz quite comfortably. There's no reason why you don't need, certainly in the dry season, which they're going through at the moment, very dry is the park, you certainly do not need four-wheel drive vehicles to drive in Hwange National Park. And in terms of game, huge herds of elephant, huge herds of buffalo. I saw lion on 2 separate occasions. I saw cheetah. It was only in the distance, but I saw cheetah. I saw leopard on 2 occasions. On one occasion, it was leopard with a cub with an impala kill up a tree. Saw all the general plains game that you would expect to see in decent numbers, wildebeest and giraffe and zebra. Saw roan. Saw a couple of nice herds of roan, saw 4 or 5 really good herds of sable. So the game is in good nick. Saw some good birds as well. At the moment, a lot of the game is congregating around the waterholes, which are pumped. They are artificially kept watered because otherwise animals would die in huge, huge numbers. And there are various ways to visit the park. You can camp, and visited 3 campsites. They really are incredibly basic, so you've got to be a hardcore camper to consider doing that. You could stay in the Parks Board accommodation, but it's fading and not particularly well maintained. And again, because the shop has absolutely nothing in it, you've got to arrive at the gates of the park completely and utterly self-contained, otherwise you're lost. And that's not always suitable for everybody. There are private concessions within the boundaries of Hwange National Park, but those are fearsomely expensive. So what I did, and I think it is the best option, is I stayed in one of the lodges which is outside of the park. I stayed in a lodge which only recently opened. In August, it opened its doors, I suppose you could say. We're talking tents mainly, so there are not a lot of doors. Opened their zips, if you like, to the paying public for the first time. And it's a lodge which has been set up by the Genmans, based here in Cape Town. They run this very successful company, Gentleman Safaris, which largely arranges private trips and does overlands through southern and eastern Africa. And they've also got an operation in Madagascar, and they've decided to go into the lodge business. Went up there, and it's the perfect place and manner in which to explore Hwange. It's a 20-minute drive from the entrance to the park. You pay your $15 and you go into the park, and you can spend as long as you like in there. And it's tents, these beautiful tents, really, luxury safari tents is one way of describing it. I love the outdoor shower. I love after coming in from a fairly dusty, hot day in Hwange National Park, and I stand in the outside shower, and the water is heated by solar heating because they've got a very green focus as well. And they're on a 6,000 hectare concession, and there are 2 water holes in front of the camp. So you're in there sort of soaping yourself under your shower, and a herd of 50 elephants will saunter down to the water hole and look up at you and say, "You call that thing a trunk?" And buffalo will come in, and I really enjoyed looking at a family of crowned cranes. There was a male and female and their young chick, which was wandering around in front of the camp. And they've got zebra and giraffe and all sable and all those things I saw on their concession. So you can do game drives on the concession, or you can go into the park with that extra $15 park entrance fee. So, you relax around the pool. I couldn't relax around the pool because the elephants had drunk the water hole dry and they were still thirsty, so they drank the swimming pool dry. These are the sort of things that you have to cope with when you're up there. And they were developing a system, Bush ingenuity knows no bounds. They were in the process of developing a system to protect the pool, the pool water from the thirsty elephants. And the food was superb. The service was fantastic. Because they've just opened, they've got a very good special on, I think, for the rest of this year and for most of next year for SADC residents. So, the combination of the fact that you're visiting an historic legacy reserve, which is still in good shape with great game viewing, and you're doing it in massive comfort for relatively, it's not a cheap holiday. Let me not give you a false impression. It's still not a cheap holiday, but it's a considerably more affordable holiday than my Botswana one was. So it's called Elephant's Eye Lodge. They've got their own website. You can check it out there, and you can also check it out via the Genman Safaris website. Again, I will be doing a trip report and posting that on Twitter and on the Facebook page in the next week or so, just detailing my experiences a little more.